Just weeks before the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Brazil received a massive injury scare. Neymar Jr. suffered a grade 2 calf muscle tear while playing for Santos. The injury immediately put his World Cup availability in doubt and raised questions about Brazil's chances of lifting a sixth World Cup trophy. Reports indicate that the injury occurred in May and was diagnosed as a grade 2 tear of the right calf muscle with an expected recovery timeline of roughly about 2 to 3 weeks. So how did this injury happen? So calf tears typically occur during explosive movements such as sprinting, accelerating from a standstill, sudden changes of direction, jumping and landing, as well as pushing off and loading to beat a defender. For a player like Neymar, whose game relies on quick bursts of speed, sharp cuts, and explosive dribbling, the calf experienced enormous amounts of load every single match. The injury occurred on May 17, 2026 while playing for Santos FC. The mechanism was likely a forceful push off while sprinting or changing direction, causing the muscle fibers to particularly tear under tension. Initial reports did describe the issue as minor calf edema, aka swelling, but subsequent MRI imaging performed by Brazil's national team medical staff revealed a grade 2 tear of that right calf muscle. An interesting detail is that immediately after the match, Santos believed that the injury was relatively minor. It wasn't until Neymar joined Brazil's World Cup camp and underwent additional imaging that the true severity of grade 2 muscle tear was identified. Calf strains often appear less serious than they actually are. Athletes can sometimes walk normally and even jog lightly, but when they attempt a maximal sprint, the injured muscle fibers are exposed to forces several times their body weight. That's why Neymar's injury went from being diagnosed as swelling to potentially causing him to miss Brazil's opening World Cup match. So the calf muscle is made up of two primary muscles. We have our gastrocnemius seen here, and then our soleus seen right there. The gastrocnemius is the large visible calf muscle and crosses both that knee and the ankle. It produces explosive power during sprinting and jumping, while the soleus lives underneath the gastrocnemius and provides endurance and postural control works with continuously during running. Grade 2 strain does mean that there's partial tearing in the muscle fibers. This means that there is a significant amount of pain, reduced strength, as well as difficulties sprinting, swelling, and inflammation, all with possible bruising. This is more severe than a mild strain, but does not represent as a complete rupture. So the calf is one of the most important muscles in soccer because every sprint, cut, shot, and jump requires a powerful amount of plantar flexion seen right here. With a grade 2 tear, the sprint speed decreases significantly and explosiveness is reduced, push-off power is limited, and then re-injury risk is definitely elevated. Even if Neymar does return, he may not immediately look like Neymar fans are used to seeing. So with muscle strains, there are different types of severity which will help identify like length of recovery as well as what's going on with those muscle fibers. First, we have our grade 1 where there's a small number of muscle fibers damaged. This is typically with mild pain, minimal strength loss, and little swelling. And typically the return to sport is 1 to 3 weeks. Grade 2 is more moderate, so there's more of a partial tear in the muscle. There's more moderate pain, weakness, swelling, difficulty with running or jumping potentially. And with that, there is a longer return to sport, typically about 3 to 8 weeks. Now the worst and most severe is the severe grade 3, which is a complete muscle rupture. This is where there's severe pain initially, major weakness, and often a palpable defect. And this typically takes about 2 to 6 months for complete recovery and sometimes does require surgery. What makes grade 2 different? Neymar's injury was reported as a grade 2 calf strain partial tear. This means a significant portion of the muscle fibers were torn, but the muscle remained intact. He will likely experience pain with walking, jogging, and especially sprinting. Force production during push-off would be significantly reduced, and the biggest injury concern is re-injury if he returns before the scar tissue matures. For elite soccer players, grade 2 calf injury is particularly problematic because the calf is heavily loaded during sprinting, cutting, accelerating, decelerating, shooting, and jumping. A player may feel fine jogging, but still may be unable to perform explosive soccer movements safely. Brazil's medical staff report Neymar expected to miss up to 3 weeks, putting Neymar in a race against the clock to start the World Cup. A follow-up MRI was completed the Monday before the start of the World Cup, showing consistent progress with expectations. Reports now state he will continue his rehabilitation and conditioning program under supervision of the medical team. And now there is confirmation that Neymar will miss the matches for the group stages this year, making his earliest return is when they would start the bracket round. This injury does affect Brazil in several ways. Offensive creativity, Neymar remains Brazil's most experienced playmaker. Without him, there's a lot fewer chances created, less ability to break down defensive blocks, as well as reduce set-piece quality. This would also be Neymar's 4th World Cup. His experience in knockout matches is difficult to replace. His absence limits Brazil's options. And even if he does return early, every sprint might become a risk. Every minute increased fatigue, as well as one explosive movement, could cause another tear. So a grade 2 calf tear is not a season-ending injury, but it arrives at the worst possible time, especially for Brazil. Neymar appears likely to miss at least a part of Brazil's early World Cup campaign, and even if he does return, a question will remain about his explosiveness and durability. Brazil still possesses tremendous talent, but losing one of the greatest players in his country's history, even temporarily, could significantly alter their path through the tournament. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below, and thank you so much for watching.